Let there be light. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. He was with God in the beginning, and all things were created through him, and apart from him, not one thing was created. The Creator God, the oftentimes forgotten God, the infinitely powerful, the immensely secure, the redemptive God, the one who's put everything into creation, sat it out for us all to see. We look around at the world around us and we see the problems. But do we remember that God is still the author of everything? That the salvation of Christ, the redemption of mankind, still holds secure in Him? At times like these, I tend to ask myself, who am I to question God and His plan of redemption? What will the world look like in even a year? I don't know. But God, who holds eternity in the palm of His hands, does. Job contends with God as his life is in chaos and turmoil. A lot of us can sympathize with Job during this time. Everything had been taken from him. He felt like his life was as good as over. He asks God many questions, claiming that it would be better if he had never been born than to experience the turmoil he had in that moment. God responds with the beauty of His authority, proclaiming to Job the creation that He put into place and asking Job if he has any chance of contending with that. He asks in chapter 40, verse 2, "Will the one who contends with the Almighty correct him? Let him who argues with God give an answer." And then Job responds, brought low and humbled before the Almighty God. He says, "I am so insignificant. How can I answer you? I place my hand over my mouth. I have spoken once, and I will not reply. Twice, but now I can add nothing." You see, the perspective in Job's head, while everything was being taken from him, was one that was focused on the immediate, the perishable, the things that can be taken in an instant, the vapors, if you will. Just like Solomon in the book of Ecclesiastes saw that everything in the world was as nothing compared to the glory of God, Job himself finds it out now when the Creator stoops down to listen and to respond. And he says, "Why has your brain been on these things, complaining and contending with me as if my plan was not already set in place before the foundation of the world? Do you bring more to the table for this story of redemption than I do?" And Job says, "No, Lord. No. And now I hold my tongue, I cover my mouth so as to hear you tell me what it is that creation holds. Tell me again, O Lord, the story of redemption, that I might anchor it in my heart, so that no matter what comes my way, whether it be sickness or persecution, whether I find myself alone at the edge of the universe, I'll know that you are near." My dear brothers and sisters, it's a shifting perspective, not thinking of the present sorry circumstances, but instead anchoring your hope in the things that you've been promised through Christ, an eternal perspective, putting your heart and your head there, so that when we come through this short time in the span of eternity, we're able to go to others and remind them of what has so easily been forgotten by many, that God is still in control, that He still holds authority over creation as we know it. Paul tells us in the book of Romans that God's invisible nature, his divine power, eternal attributes are shown through creation. And as you see behind me, there's plenty of the authority and character of God displayed. If you need to remember it, and you can, go out into the wilderness. Take some time to pray and reflect on the Creator God. Remind yourself of who he truly is so that you don't forget in these times of crises that he is still in control, that all things are subject to him. Who are we to contend with him who placed the sky into being? Who are we to contend with him who ignited the sun as if someone lights a match? Who are we to contend with him whose words laid forth the very land you see behind me, stretching the waters away from it and bringing forth the mountains like a child with Play-Doh? Who are we to contend with him? Brothers and sisters, I implore you, shift your perspective.